Hi. Um, Last week I have not been able to shoot some videos for you in order to inform you about the global and geopolitical news, what has happened in Middle East around Turkey and what is important for global agenda. Now this week I have more time and I would like to share the previous week's important events that took place in Middle East and in global geopolitics. The first one is in the Black Sea, and NATO and the foreign ministers of NATO have agreed to increase joint exercises with Ukraine and Georgia, and this is not a good news for Russia. Of course, this joint exercise is not supposed to involve the Kerch Strait, which is a problematic issue between Ukraine and Russia, but also it signals that NATO wants to increase the cooperation between NATO alliances and also Ukraine and Georgia. Now, since Russia wants to increase its influence on these two countries, NATO is now trying to balance it. The supposedly exercise will involve only the aerial surveillance operations in the Black Sea, but this signals Russia a concern. So we are going to see how this is going to take place in Black Sea and how Russian Navy is going to watch it. We will understand how they will take it seriously. We will try to also share it with you. Israel, as of today, Israel again have chosen Netanyahu as a prime minister for next 5 years. And before the elections, he has lately told to Israel and to global news that Israel will annex the parts of West Bank if he is going to be re-elected. In my opinion, this is a very bad news, not only for Middle East but also stability and peace in the world. Because also United States has already signed, or President Trump has already signed the bill that recognizes West Bank is the sovereignty of Israel. Now, what is now telling us is that it was a part of Syria during the 1967 wars. Israel has occupied the area, and since then it is their area. They have the control of the area, but internationally, or the UN already recognized the West Bank is a part of Syria. Now, United States recognition implies that they are not also in line with the UN. So it signals a very different strategy or a very different approach to Middle East or the stability in Middle East. If you are strong and you are with me, then you can do whatever you want. And that is not the signal it should be in the Middle East. I believe this is something wrong that President Trump had done. If not today or tomorrow, but in the coming decade, we are going to see how this is going to result. In my opinion, it will be very bad, because as a driver of conflicts, if you are not going to approach the grievances with the solutions that should meet with the expectation of the parties involved in the conflict, then always resilience will rise. And if the message is, if you are strong and if you are with me, you can do whatever you want, you can annex part of another country, is giving a message to the other countries, especially to the Muslim world, that alright, if it is the case, then we are going to get militarized. And militarization in the Middle East is going to open a lot of debates. Let's say one of them will be the Turkey and the Saudi Arabia, who is going to be the leader of the Sunni world, or the Turkish influence in the, I would say, in the Syria and Iraq, and how Saudi is going to approach this, or the Iranian and Saudi conflict within the region, not only Saudi and Iran the conflict, but also how it's going to be affecting the Syria and Iraq. So That's why I will say the U.S. administration signal is or supposed to be a very wrong signal, and Israeli intention is going to increase definitely the tension between the Muslim worlds and Israel, and this is not a good sign. UK still Prime Minister May doesn't know what he is or she's going to do with the Brexit. She had met with Macron and Merkel in order to discuss a delay or an extension for their solution proposal, how they are going to leave the Union, the bloc. And they have asked for an extension by end of 2019. Unfortunately, EU returned back and tell them that okay, this is going to be the end of October. You have to give us a solution. You have to leave it with the agreement. So May then stood up and said, okay, this is enough time for us. We want to resolute or find a solution to this during December 2019. So on and so forth. She was supposed to be happy with this. However, in our opinion, I don't think so that United Kingdom is even close to any solution. If it is so, they would have agreed a lot of proposals from the Prime Minister. No, they haven't. This shows that the Parliament is now divided into fractions, and the fractions have different demands due to the business, due to the nationalism, and due to other reasons. And all these different elements of the parties and their desires that should take place within the Brexit agreement is not there yet. And it's not easy to merge all these demands from different fractions within the parliaments. That's why, in our opinion, May has a very, very difficult task ahead summer 2019. We are going to see this, we are going to review this, all the news that's going to come to our desk, and we will share with you. Now, Egypt. Now, something has very much interesting happened in Egypt, and this is what I was just some minutes ago. I tried to also tell it to you. The U.S. senators, especially from the Democrat sides, have emerged. The state Minister Pompeo about to emphasize political human rights in meeting with al-Sisi, the Egyptian president, because they are very much concerned about the things going on in Egypt. Now, as you remember, al-Sisi had took the control of the country with a coup, and since then he tried to run the administration with a soft power as much as he can. But it doesn't work, and because he cannot really address the drivers of the conflicts at the moment. If you are going to look at the composition of the parliament, it doesn't get all the elements of the populace of Egypt, which means that the conservative people are not represented within the parliament. Their voices are not heard. And how Sisi reacts to these resiliences within the Egyptian populace is use a strong or the hard fist, and which means that these kind of things in Sinai Peninsula and also around the Egyptian cities other than Cairo is going to take place more and more in future. So this is a very bad news, not only for Egypt but also for the global economy, because of the importance of Sinai Peninsula transportation purposes. There are lots of goods are transporting via the strait, and if there will be an instability arises around these regions, it is bad news for global economy, it's bad news for Israel security even, and it's bad news for the East Mediterranean Sea region countries, including Turkey. That's why these concerns and arising concerns from the Senate of US is very important signal that we should take care of it. And we will even try to look at the topic more in details in future. Now, Iraq Prime Minister have ordered the finance minister to pay for the Peshmerga salaries. Why does it take place? Because I'm going to also cover this now story this week to you. But there is an unrest arising in the Basra region, and they want a federal state or a kind of an independent state even for future. And whenever you think about the northern part of Iraq, which the Erbil, the Kurdistan regional government takes place, and now there is an unrest also arising in the south part of Iraq. And if you are going to look from the much more helicopter view, after the Saddam, Iraq is composed with the different fractions, KRG or the Kurdish regional state. And the people said, okay, we want a federal system, so they put their lines. Now Basra wants this. Okay, so if you are looking from this aspect, the centralized government is losing their effect. And why? Because they cannot really address all these the conflicts and the unrest within the country. Now, what is now happening is that in the long term, in our approach, Iraq is now dividing into fractions, and the stability of Iraq will get lost in the coming decade. So this is a news or important note for Turkey to take aware, unless they are going to act wisely for future in terms of economy and military. That may not be a big threat as it should be. But if they are not going to take care of it, the economy and all the military issues, yes, it is a big concern for Turkey. Another big concern for Turkey this week arises due to the US senators. They are introducing a new bill for lifting the arm embargo on Cyprus. In 1987, US has had applied an arm embargo on Cyprus. And since then, Cyprus was not buying or has not been buying military equipments, such as aerial defense systems, other things. If it's going to be lifted, they will be free to buy, since they are also a part of NATO and the EU. It means that they are going to buy everything or most from EU and also NATO, which means that aerial defense system is going to be procured and other things, which is a great, I will say, concern to Turkey about the safety of the Turkish-Cyprus part. That's very important event for Turkey to take care, I believe. And Venezuela, I told you that although the United States have tried to, I will say, introduce a lot of embargo on Venezuela, it will not be an easy task to take out President Maduro from the office and introduce Guaido as a president to Venezuela as a one whole. Now the Venezuelan oil pump is now coming down to 730,000 barrels per day, and this means a roughly 300,000 fall from beginning of 2019. It's around 30%. They fell down the production. It means that 30% of their revenues is coming down, so on and so forth. Starvation is going to arise again, illnesses are going to arise again, unrest is going to rise again. Of course, Maduro is going to use the centralized force to push all these unrest down, so the resilience will increase. Is what the United States is aiming for in order to introduce Guaido as a one ultimate president for the country. Which means that we are going to see more unrest in coming days in Venezuela, and also this event also showing that what the United States is trying to do is not working as much as they desire. Maduro has still a lot of, I would say, cards to play with, and he is going to play with them. And we will see a lot of also humanitarian crisis with Venezuela in coming, I will say, quarter of 2019. This summer is going to be hot for also Venezuela too. I believe these are the most important events for the last weeks to mention. Thank you for staying with us. Keep watch us.